Hi there. Welcome to NSC 140. I want to give you a quick walk through the website here, and I'm looking at our Canvas course here, which you see up here at the address there. The course number is 31603, and this is NSC 140AO. 2019 means academic year 2019-2020. And 30 means summer school there. And I've got it set up where the home page is this module page, and I'm in student view. As you see, the big thing at the bottom there is saying I'm in student view. So this should look pretty much what it looks like to you if you're looking in a web browser like Chrome, which I think is the best way to do this. I'll be posting this video right up here in this Welcome to NSC 140 area for you. But the way that I would suggest that you approach the course is that you get into the module view here and you start at the top and you just work your way down. So I'll just do a quick slow roll through here of the course. And you can see that you have different units. Here's the first unit. You've got some handouts, lectures, presentations, things like that. References to other web pages, and then you have lesson activities, and frequently you'll see some instructions that occur along with these different activities, but these are basically these things to do. And the way an online course works typically is that you have a long list of things that you need to do. And to do those things, you have resources to help you do them. And basically the course is the matter of going through and doing the things that you're required to do. It's kind of like a great big to-do list. Obviously, you'll get feedback on things as we move along and so on, but that's what the course looks like. So we have the first unit, again, is this fundamental aspects of science, technology, and ethics and success in this course. And then you have second unit is astronomy, which is a case study in the evolution of a scientific model. So what we're going to do there is take some of the stuff that we learned in this course, in particular this presentation that I made and this lecture about methods of science here is going to weigh heavily on trying to apply that to this discussion about astronomy. I like astronomy to use that as an example because it's something that you can continue to learn about all through your life, and all you have to do is go outside when it's dark and can study astronomy to a certain extent there. So got some different references here, and a link to a Wikipedia article. Many times in science, Wikipedia articles are actually pretty good. I know you don't want to use those as a primary source on anything, but they're not a bad resource. References some videos here that I found that I thought looked good that you need to maybe use that'll help you do some of the assignments. And so again, here you've got assignments. You see this kind of thing happen a lot, where you may have a couple of things about something. So you see here two things on pendulum, one about Galileo's pendulum experiment, one about the video on what's called the PHET pendulum simulation. PHET stands for Physics Education Technology, which is a source of a lot of simulated labs that we'll be using. And then you have a lab based on the pendulum thing. So these two things here will very much influence your ability to do that lab. And you see that things are arranged like that for much of the course. Then we have a midterm exam. Summer school moves fast. That's June 15th to June 18th. We don't have much time. Then after midterm, we have two units on energy. The first one is about motion and electricity, and we have some resources here talking about different ways to generate electricity and some presentations from the book. I'll talk about the book in just a little bit. And then you've got lesson activities here, and again, a lot of times you see an activity like the lunar lander, and before that you have a video about the lunar lander, and then videos on the moving man lab, and then moving the man lab, and so on. So those will help you to do those. And then the second part of energy, we're talking about heat and chemistry. A lot of times we're dealing with chemistry to produce heat for many of our energy sources. If we're burning gasoline, or we're burning natural gas, or we're burning some sort of fuel oil, that's a fossil fuel. And then here are some discussion about what other things that we use that for, and are there other ways to make it. So, for example, can you use algae to make petroleum type products? And a little touch on nuclear and photovoltaic and things like that. And then again, in this last unit, we've got these activities at the bottom where we talk about some of these issues. You've got some physics, heat related stuff, and then you've got some chemistry thing, understanding a little bit about chemistry, and then we have a final exam at the end of the course. Another thing I want to point out to you is that you can go to the announcements section here, and you can see any announcement that's gone out in the course over here, so you can archive. You can go back and find these. You don't have to dig through your email. You should make sure that you're receiving these announcements somewhere so that you see them in your email. I know that you have quite a bit of stuff coming into your email, and so these are important things. These messages that I send out are important things. They're me directly speaking to you, and so I do expect you to pay attention to them. But they are all over here under this announcements thing. You can check out your grades over here on this one. We tend to have assignments, and you can set this to yourself. This is for test student. That's who I log in as. And you can see what your score is out of whatever the points are. Usually I arrange these by assignment group is the way I look at it. So you can see how the grade is going to get constructed based on the different groups. We'll talk about the syllabus there in just a minute. There's an introduce yourself assignment, which doesn't do anything except say that you're here, that we need to confirm that. And then we have the midterm exam. Then we have the labs, and they go on for a while. And you can see due dates here. Both I usually try to type them in here, and they're also over here, the date and time that things are due. And then if you go on down, we get out of the labs, and we'll get into assignments, starting with this discussion forum. So assignments are another group of grades, and then we have a final exam. And then the way those weigh into your grade, I thought would be in here somewhere, but I'm not seeing it. Maybe if I make the screen, I might have it scaled up to look at it a little smaller. Yeah, you can see over here on this side, so I was losing some of the screen, but over here you can see what things grade, how they count towards your final grade. You can see other people in the course using the People tab. If you look at the Syllabus tab, you're going to see a description of the course. This isn't the syllabus. The syllabus is actually at the top of the course, and then you have a description of how the grade is done, and then you have a list of the assignments by their due dates as you go through here. So that's one way of looking at that. But the module view, again, is the main view that I would look at. You've got online tutoring, library resources here that are things that you might use as well. Now let's pop this syllabus open here. So I'm going to go down here and pop this is the actual official syllabus for this section, which of course describes the rules for the class and what we're agreeing to do. So let's go over that for just a minute. I can make this pop out by hitting this button right here. Okay, so here's the syllabus. And so you see I'm Dr. Tim Champion. This is the phone number you can reach me at. This is a Google Voice number. You have to go through an assistant screening, and then it will get forwarded to my cell phone, since we're not in the offices right now. Best way to reach me really is email. This is my email address. If you email me, be sure to put NSC 140AO at the beginning of the email and then say whatever it's about. So if you were saying that you were having a problem with Lab 1A, then you'd say NSC 140AO Lab 1A, and then write your email so that I know what you're referring to. I'm teaching, 3 different classes right now, so I want you to know about that. We're not in the offices, so the way we'll do office hours this summer is by request. Send me an email. If we need to talk face-to-face, we can do that using Zoom or something like that. There's a description of the course here. I usually say this course to me, I have 3 big goals. One goal that I have is that you understand a little bit about how science works, how scientists attack problems, what are some of the tools that we use to analyze things, and to how do we design experiments and conduct experiments. And those have a lot of applicability beyond the realm of science. So, for example, if you go into business and you're dealing with marketing, if you want to test a marketing strategy, that's very much a scientific experiment. So what you learn here will help with that. The second thing I want you to understand is the importance of science and technology and their impact on society. Many of the big questions and the big decisions we have involves knowing about science, and we see that going on right now with the current pandemic. Obviously, a lot of people are having disagreements about whether one should pay attention to science or not. With that, and it's while there's lots of other aspects to it in terms of getting folks to behave the way they should to try and prevent the spread of disease, and the financial aspects of it, of course, are a whole nother layer. But at its core, we've got a scientific problem, and we're trying to solve it. The textbook here is mentioned right here. The textbook is not required. If you'd like to have a copy of the textbook, that's not a bad thing. You can access that textbook pretty cheaply if you go to Amazon and look for this book. And again, any edition is fine. So if you just look at for Integrated Science by Tillery, and if they have, a first or second or third edition, you might be able to get it for under $5. And then you would have a perfectly valid textbook there. I've incorporated some materials from that book. It's a pretty good book, but I don't think you have to buy that book. There's some general sort of stuff here, again, that I'm not going to read for you. You can certainly read those. I want to get to something that I know you care about, which is how do we get the grade. So here's how we do the grade in this course. We have a midterm and a final. The midterm is going to count 15%. The final is going to count 20%. They're both open book and open notes. They are timed, but usually it's a pretty long period of time that you have to attach those, and you'll have several days over which you can take those exams, but it is only during that period. The midterm has a lot of multiple choice questions that involve the book and things about the book, and then a couple of free response questions that have more points and require maybe more of the understanding of the big questions. The final exam is all free response, and you'll get a description of that final exam later on. Then you have the assignment section, which is a grab bag of different things, including some discussions, some short answer type questions, or something getting onto a page or more essay type questions. That's 25% of the grade. And we'll drop some of those. Some of those will be dropped before we calculate the final grade. So if some of those don't happen, or it takes you a little while to figure out how to do those, don't worry so much. We'll be dropping some of those. Lab reports, again, also, these are 40% of the grade. It's a big part of the grade. You'll do quite a few of these, and I will drop quite a few of them. The lab experiences require you to use a simulation to collect data, to try and answer questions. In some cases, it's a very directed thing where you're told kind of exactly what to do and exactly what data to collect. And in other situations, you have to come up with how to construct the experiment yourself and collect your data and analyze your data. If you're doing these things, you're acting like a scientist, which again I think is the best way for you to learn how to do this. Now, the great thing about these simulations is that you can't break them. You go into lab, you only have so much time. You've got glassware and equipment and stuff, and things can go wrong. With a simulation, I always think of these as like being a video game, and you can try things, and if it doesn't work, that's okay. Hit reset or back out and start all over again, collect some more data. So when you're dealing with these sims, if you think of them like video games, maybe that'll help a little bit. If you get stuck on those, of course, I'm always happy to help. Typically for the assignments and the lab reports, there's a 24-hour period past the due date. When you can submit late, you may be penalized for that. But that's it. That's the only extensions you have. Exams may not be made up, and keep in mind that since it's an online course, and for example, when you're writing essays and things like that, you have all the tools that are available through technology to make sure that your spelling's correct, that your grammar's correct, that your sentence and paragraph structures are correct. So my expectations are higher than I would have if you were just jotting something down in class. Plagiarism is not allowed, and if you have any questions about that, you need to let me know. It's very easy for me to notice when two students submit the same piece of work. It's very easy for me to notice when the language sounds different, and I can copy and paste things and search in Google and find the sources where students have copied from. So please don't do that. Don't quote too much. If you use information from an outside source and you do nothing but quotes, there's not much of it in that's you, even though you've done the proper thing in terms of citing the work and saying that I got this from this reliable source. It's still, if all you do is present me with a bunch of quotes, there's nothing there. There's no attendance policy, of course, for the thing. I'll check attendance Sunday through Saturday is the week usually, and I will record attendance for the initial part of the course, but that's more an issue of federal requirements and financial aid. But we don't. There's no grade related to attendance or anything like that. So that's there. Some general guidelines. Again, a lot of this stuff is general guidelines for online courses. And then getting down to the end here, we have the course calendar, which I've got on a single page, so you could print that if you wanted to stick that up somewhere so you know what's coming, when the due dates are for things. We have the textbook chapters that refer to the chapters in that Tillery, Inger and Ross book, should you choose to purchase it. The lesson titles correspond to the modules in the module view. And then you have the dates during which things are going to be happening. And then the due date for all the assignments in this first unit is going to be at 11:55 on June 8th. And then for everything in the second unit, everything's at June 15th at 11:55 p.m. Midterm exams times are open given here. Then the unit on Energy 1 goes to June 27th, and then the last unit goes to July 6th, and then we do the final exam. So you're basically going to have 4 due dates where you've got a whole bunch of things due. We usually call that a bucket of assignments that are due at that time. So be aware of that. You kind of have to plan ahead. Again, online courses are very much about your planning and organizing your work. I know these are challenging times. I know that this format may not be what you would have preferred to do this course in, but I think it's can be a useful way to learn, and I think learning to learn in this format is very much a skill that's important for you in the future. That if you go out into the world of work, and you do continue to do education, which you will, you'll do continuing education, and just about no matter what field you're in, you'll be doing it through an online format. So I think that learning how to do that is important. Again, I'm always happy to talk with you. The best way to reach me is to email me at tchampion@jcsu.edu. And of course, that's all on the syllabus. All right, well, good luck. And be sure to do that attendance assignment just as soon as you can. That is located right in that first unit. And of course, you see over here on the right side these announcements, the little megaphone, and then this introduce yourself assignment that you need to do, and then there's discussion forums and stuff coming on with the due dates on those, so you can see what has to happen at different times. All right, so good luck with the course. I look forward to getting to know you all and get to it. Thanks. Bye-bye.